Good boy, Tucker.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
Hey.
Welcome.
Work smarter where you want.
Consistency is key.
And remember, if it's not in Redtail, it never happened.
This is learning at its most fun.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Haley Mandrup, and I'm one of the trainers with Redtail Technology. And today we're going to be talking about a Redtail essential. So we do these essential videos on a feature within the CRM, and today I'm really excited to share with you the advanced search. So we're going to go all throughout the search within Redtail, all of the different items that you can search on a contact record, and within a contact to deep dive into those contacts and see what's in the system. But what's also cool about the search is you can point out what's not in the system. So we're going to go through a bunch of features on the search page, and without further ado, we will jump on in. So first, accessing the search. There's two searches within Redtail. There's the simple search, which is always at the top bar, at the very top of the CRM. It says search contacts, and this is the simple search. So I call it a simple search because just by typing in one piece of criteria, like Green, for example, I might be looking for a contact with the last name Green, Rachel Green, or someone like that. If I type in Green, that is going to search many different values and many different fields within Redtail. So I'm looking for a last name, but it's actually going to search first name, last name, business name. So if there's Greenville Incorporated or Green Inc., whatever it is, that will come up in my search. This is also going to search phone number, email address, physical address, tax ID number, social security number, same thing, and then the account number as well. So you could put in the last four digits of an account number and click enter on your keyboard, and that will bring up any contacts that have those four digits in their address, their phone number, their tax ID number, their account number, and any of those fields. So when I put in Green, I got Jane Green because she has the last name Green. I got several contacts that have addresses in Greendale over here. And then I had some Greendale Community College, starts with Green up here. It's going to bring up whatever has that criteria. So keep in mind, if you're searching a very common string of letters or numbers, that's going to bring up a large number of contacts. Now, when I searched Green, it brought me to this search results page and also brought me to the advanced search page within Redtail. So the simple search is always accessible, and then once you use it, you get to the advanced search page. And this is where you can really dive in and say, I don't want to look at all those fields. I want to look for a specific field, like birthdays in January. And we're going to go through how to search for birthdays and how to search for other items. But before we do that, another way to get to the search, besides using the simple search at the top, is by clicking on contacts on the left. This will bring you to an A to Z list of all contacts in the database. And then once here, you can then select advanced search, and that's another way to get to the search page. There are two other ways to get to the search in the system that I'll point out a little bit later. So we're going to work our way up to those. So first, use that simple search. Second, go to contacts, and then advanced search at the top. Either way, however you get to the search, once you end up here, you have the ability to then run a detailed search. So in Redtail, we typically sort contacts via the status. I would recommend always starting your search with a very high level. We're going to run through a search for all of my clients, for example. So I'm looking for a contact type of field. It's a field that's on the contact record on the main contact page. So we're going to search for contact. And then the actual field that we're looking for is the status, because I know I want all statuses that say client or active client. Once I choose that field, we're then faced with an operand. An operand you might remember from like math class when you have the greater than or equal to symbols. Most of the time you're searching, you're going to use the equal to because you're looking for something specific. But we will explore the other operands in other searches later in this tutorial. So keep in mind, we're not going to always use the equal to, although it probably will be the most common option in the majority of your searches. So my contact status is equal to, and then I'm faced with a list of all the statuses that currently exist in my database. So I'm going to go ahead and choose active client, and we're going to end my search right there. So all I'm looking for is status equal to active client. And then I can click run to run that search and see I have 293 active clients based on those statuses. Now, assuming I'm keeping clean data, this is an accurate list of my book of business, of all the active clients that I have within the database. Now, it does depend on if I have A clients or AA clients and I've segmented them by category. Maybe I don't want all of my A clients, or I've got some that even have a category of transition. So I definitely don't want to include those in my search if I'm communicating with all of my current active clients. So I have a couple different ways that I can go with this search. First, I can exclude a certain category by adding to my search criteria. So think of your search like a funnel. And right now we've cast a very wide net for status equal to active client. And we're going to add a tier to that search. We're going to narrow those search results or start to funnel down by clicking and. And is going to add another search that's indented underneath the first search that I input. So then I will choose contact. We're again looking for a contact field, category, and in this case, I want to exclude transition, the ones down here that have a category of transition. So I'm going to say not equal to transition, and then run that search. And my search is going to go from 293 to 272. You don't have to click run every time you add another line of criteria or another search line, by the way. I just do that so you can see the numbers go down, but you don't have to run every time. If you were building a complicated search, you could build the search all the way at the top and then click run at the very end. That's up to you. So now I've got all of my active clients that don't have a category of transition, and I've got quite a few contacts here. So maybe I wanted to narrow it further by saying I only want contacts that have a certain keyword. Maybe I use keywords to identify different business services that are offered. So I can again add and to my search. Again, use contact, and then we're going to choose for keywords, we're going to choose contact keywords, and then the field is going to be keyword. Keywords are searched a little bit differently than status and category because a status is something you can only have one value for. So just like a date of birth, you don't have two dates of birth, you don't have two marital anniversaries. So the search for that is built differently, and we have to click on it differently. So contact keywords, we're going to select keyword, and then our operand is going to be equal to, and I want to view my retirement clients. That'll be a good portion here. And that brings my 200 number down to 25. So now I have a very small list that I can then work with, export, or run to a report. So let's talk about those options. Now that we know a little bit to be enough to be dangerous with our search, what can we do with a search? Why are we searching? Maybe we want to run a PDF report, or we want to run certain information to Excel. You can select the contacts on the search page. And when it's a larger number than 50, there will be an option here to select all X number of contacts. If it's 2,000 or however many it is, you have to select here to make sure and get all of the contacts resulting in the search. But in the case of 25, we're just going to select that top checkbox, and we have all 25 selected. And anytime you want to change that information in bulk or export it outside the system, we're going to click on Contact Options. Contact Options is going to give us 6 different options here. The first is labels. This one's probably the simplest one. These are pre-built Avery labels. Avery is the most popular label company. So Redtail went ahead and built out labels for all of these different Avery templates. So you can use any of these to generate an Avery sheet on family names. We do one ordered by zip code, or we have a single sheet option. So if you were sending a large number of letters to one location, you could run a single sheet. It'll run one single sheet for each person on your list. So with these 25 people, we'd get one sheet for each person, or 25 sheets total. And then we also have an envelope number 10 down here at the bottom. It's family names with no return address. And then an envelope number 10, and that one's going to run like a first name, last name, address, and it doesn't have a return address on it, because those are just our pre-built templates. Now, if you were looking for an envelope with a return address, for example, you can create that through the very next option under Contact Options, and that's under Mail Merge. We do have a separate tutorial on mail merges and building a template in Word. It definitely sounds harder than it is, so keep that in mind. But in Word, you can create an envelope number 10 option and then put your own return address on it, or maybe you're printing on a letterhead that already has your address. You can then upload that template to Redtail and use that template to run envelopes for a certain number of contacts or a certain search. You can also do that for the Avery templates that we don't have. So we do have a lot of the popular Avery templates, but if you bought a template number that Redtail doesn't have, that's okay. You can make a template for that in Word and use the mail merge to generate those labels. You're not limited just to the labels that we have available. The third option, anytime you see report in Redtail, we mean PDF. So the third option is reports, and these are some various PDF options that we've found that are helpful to users. The first is a birthday report. Now, the birthday report is special, first of all, because birthdays are special, right? No, because the birthday report does sort in date order. So a lot of times when we're running birthdays for a period of time, like a whole month at a time, you do want them to sort January 1st, January 2nd, January 5th, and put the birthdays in day order. First of all, this report does that, so very helpful. And then second about this report is if I have 25 people selected and I choose to run the birthday report, it's going to run for the 25 contacts if their birthday reminder is turned on. So maybe I've turned someone's birthday reminder off on their contact record. They will not generate on this report. And the last thing that's super helpful about this report is it gives you their age and then what age they're turning. So this person's birthday, Jake, is on the 7th. So it was on February 7th. His age was 39. He was turning 40. And that's what this report is telling us. So this is something you could run a month in advance for the next month. We're in mid-February. We could run it for the month of March. I definitely encourage you all to check out these reports and see if they're going to be helpful to you. We've definitely gotten a lot of feedback on the last activity and last note report. Sometimes you want to see what the last contact was with all your A clients or AAA clients. There are great options in here for that. The next option under reports is exports. And anytime you see exports, think Excel. So these are going to go to Excel. A lot of them have the same information that the PDF reports have, but it's just taking them to an Excel spreadsheet where you can then manipulate the data, dress it up, or maybe delete some information that you don't like to then condense it and make it look the way that you want it to. Some of the ones that are helpful here are an export to laser app that you can export and then import to laser app. You can export and import to Outlook, send out cards, and stamps.com. And then one really cool one, or at least I think it's really cool, is the accounts by contact export. This will bring out all of the contacts that I've selected, but also all of the accounts on all of the contacts that I've selected. So this is going to open in Excel here. And these are all fake contacts, so I'm not exposing any account numbers here. This is going to bring up the account owner. In this case, Polly Bradshaw. This is really small, so I'm going to zoom in. Polly Bradshaw has 6 accounts with us, so she looks duplicated, but upon further inspection, I can see she actually has 6 accounts with us, and those accounts have very different values. So she's got different valued accounts, and I can then either run a total by family on the account balances or work with these accounts in Excel to go ahead and run whatever report I want to run. Now, the next option under our pre-built Excel reports is going to be custom exports. And we do have another tutorial on building these templates, but just a bird's eye overview of these templates. These are where you get to say, I want first name and last name and birth date to go to Excel. Or I want first name, last name, and client review the next time their client review date is due to go to Excel. And then you can use Excel to sort those dates and work with it from there. A very popular option to build a custom export for includes the family name. So first name, last name. I would always recommend putting first name and last name on your custom exports so you know what client you're dealing with. But then also adding like a family name column and then the family portfolio balance. So in that report, you could easily see what are all my families, what are all them valued at, and who's my highest AUM family that I have, what's my highest assets under management family, and identify it through Excel here. After the custom exports are bulk actions. So in addition to getting information out of the system using the search, you can actually change information within the system through the bulk actions. And there's a bunch of options here, including adding an activity. Maybe you're going to start a new initiative in the new year. We're still in February. You can still set new initiatives for the new year. And maybe you want to reach out every 3 months to your AAA clients. If you add an activity from this search, it will add 25 individual activities, one for each contact I've selected. Whereas when you add to the seminar, you might be adding all of these people to an event you're going to host. It's not going to add 25 seminars. We know that you're adding 25 people to one seminar. And same with a tag group. You might want to create a marketing list from all of your prospects. So I'm not going to go down every option in the bulk actions. Most of them are self-explanatory, but the most popular options are going to be change contact status and change contact category. If you're working on cleaning up your system, those are great ones to change in bulk. Maybe you know by identifying their names, these people are definitely clients, or hold up, these should be prospects. I'm going to change that status. Deleting contacts in bulk is available here, as well as combining contacts. So if you have duplicates, you can merge them. You don't have to delete one. You can merge them, and all the information will merge. You can add a note in bulk. Maybe you've just sent out an updated ADV form to all your clients. Instead of going one by one and notating that was sent, you can add a bulk note entry. ADV sent via email to all clients, and that note will be added to all of their records. This is also an option if maybe you don't need to add a note to 200 people, but you need to add it to 5. You can bring those 5 people up on the search and then add that note in one swift movement to all of their contacts via this page. And then the very bottom, a workflow link. So if you're starting to use workflows, you can link workflows. And this one's pretty cool because you can either link an existing workflow or an open workflow process. Maybe you're doing a cleanup process or a compliance checklist, that kind of thing. You can link them to an existing workflow for an opportunity or so on and so forth. And then you also have the ability to open a template, and this would open a brand new template for, say, prospecting for all 25 people I've selected. So I'm going to get 25 individual prospecting workflows so that I can move Rocky, Bruce, or Joe or Jake through the individual process individually. Maybe I don't call everyone the first time on the same day. Lots of options under the bulk contact actions. And now that we know what we can do with those contacts, we're going to circle back and talk more about what we can use to search. So being a Redtail user or having a login to Redtail, you're a data gatherer, and you're going to primarily focus on data that's important to your office. So we recommend status and category. You always use those to start your search. But sometimes you want to search for other information, including, I've mentioned birthday a couple times, so we're going to run that search. You can either run it by the month, so you can do date of birth month equal to January, and then I'm going to delete these other lines of criteria. And we're going to get everyone in our system that has a birthday that's in January. So we know that two things have to be true of them for them to show up on this search. And then we can filter that search and say, oh, I didn't actually want the prospects, I just wanted my clients. So status is equal to active client, and that's going to narrow our search to 19. Another way to search for birthdays is date of birth month. We have date of birth itself, so you can just search for the date. Maybe you want to search for all birthdays greater than March 1st, but less than, so we would do contact, date of birth, less than, and then we could do less than June 30th. We want all birthdays between March and June. So if you want to send something maybe out about a certain birthday sign, you could start with the beginning of that birthday sign and the end of that birthday sign to run that search. So then that'll bring up everyone who has a date of birth greater than March 1st, but less than June 30th. And I don't have anything because I put the year 2019. We'd also want to put a date range in here. Maybe we'd put 1940. And then we're going to get everyone between that year and was born up into this year. Or we could do a date range for a certain year. So keep this in mind for any date range searches you want to run. Maybe you want to run a list of everyone that's turning 18 this year. You could do that using birth dates. Or another option would be to go with a little bit of a simpler option, which is to search age, greater than or equal to 17. And then we could do age less than 18. So that's going to give us anyone that's greater than or equal to, so someone who's turning 17 today at midnight or this morning at midnight would have turned 17. And I did less than 18 because we want to catch them before they turn 18. I don't want 18-year-olds in this search, for example. So again, it's taking you a little bit back to math where greater than or equal to means greater than 3 or meets the criteria of 3, greater than or equal to 3, whereas less than 3 would mean 2 or under, or 2.5 or anything less than 3 exactly. Whenever your contacts are added to the database, they have a contact created at date. So you can search for contacts created at greater than February 1st. And this will give me any contacts that have been created in my database since February 1st. You could then limit that search to and contact status equal to prospect. And we can see how many new prospects have come in the beginning of this month. So since I've had one prospect come in all of February so far. Most of the searches, like I mentioned, most of the searches you're running are going to be based on this contact field or contact keyword, but there are a lot more options on this initial menu. And the second most popular, I would say, at least in my experience, is the account search. So sometimes we want to search for accounts within the system based on their value or based on their type. Who has an account type in my system equal to IRA? Well, as long as I've entered accounts or they're feeding in from another system, and as long as they have the account type field filled out, I can search on that information using account type equal to IRA. Now, this isn't going to bring up the accounts that are IRAs. It's going to bring up the contacts that have an IRA account. So Emmett has an IRA account on his record. It may be open, it may be closed. We're searching on the contact level. So do keep that in mind. That is where the accounts by contact export comes into play and becomes useful. So all of these 7 contacts, they might each have 2 or more accounts. I don't know based on the search, but I can use the contact options and the exports to choose accounts by contact, the one that I highlighted a little bit earlier. And that's going to open up just for 7 contacts. I have quite a few accounts for each of them. Zoom in here. So then I can get a better picture on John's got 5 accounts. The account type is also in this report, so I could use Excel to filter and sort to all of my IRA accounts. And now each of them do have an IRA account, and then I could delete everything else that I don't want to work with and move forward from there. Another popular search, especially if you're getting started with Redtail and you've just got the accounts in there and you've got your statuses labeled, but you don't know what their categories are, or maybe you need to re-rank your clients because you've adjusted what level of assets under management means a certain category. So the category is what we use to say, these are our top level clients, our A clients. They have over $1 million worth in assets under management with us. Whereas B clients might have 500,000 to $1 million. And then C would have up to 500,000, or whatever your segmentation is. You can actually use the search in Redtail to search based on their account value or account balance. So we're going to say account portfolio balance greater than, let's just start with $1 because I'm not quite sure what's going to be in this test database. Well, we've got 64 records with more than $1, so I'd say we're doing pretty well. And then you can then filter and say, oh, greater than, let's go greater than 500,000 and see if we've got any contacts with that value. Then we could bulk select all of these contacts and change their category to B client since they have over 500,000. And then we could change it to over $1 million and change all of those categories to A clients and use Redtail to rank them based on AUM. Now notice I am getting active clients, I'm getting prospects, I'm getting spousive clients. That's because I'm in a test database and I typically am going to have bad data in here. But it would be worth it to always limit your search by status just to make sure that you're only changing information on clients that you should be changing information on. So they should have the status of client. And if you're in an office with multiple advisors, it's definitely a good idea to filter again using that and option, to a certain servicing advisor. So if you're working under one advisor in the office, definitely make sure you're only changing information for your advisor, not for all advisors in the database. That's going to give me very different results than if I was running it for all advisors in the database. Now, we've talked a lot about and limiting our search and funneling down. But if I wanted to run this exact search for 2 servicing advisors, I need to expand my search for an additional servicing advisor. So for that, I'm going to choose OR. And OR is going to create an entirely new search. So on the one hand, we're searching account portfolio balance greater than $1 million, status is equal to active client, and then servicing advisor is Rick. I'm going to add an additional search at the same time for all of the same information, just another servicing advisor. So I do need to input all that same info, portfolio balance greater than $1 million, and then I can and add 2 of those, contact status equal to active client, contact servicing advisor equal to, and I'm going to choose a different servicing advisor. Hopefully one that has contacts here. That's okay. So we got 3 records between those 2 servicing advisors that have over $1 million in assets. Now that search took a good amount of clicks. I mean, we've got 12 clicks on each search, and then that's a lot to build. If this was a search that I was going to run frequently, you can save the search. It's not going to save Oswald, Anthony, and Bruce. It's actually saving these 6 lines of criteria and the search itself. So by clicking save, the system says, okay, well, you want to save that. What do you want to name it? So I'm going to say Rick and Becca's clients with over $1 million. And I could have named it something simpler and then put something in the description to maintain a naming structure, or keep in mind that when you create a quick list, it is visible to everyone in the database. If they don't have permission to see the contacts that are on that quick list, they still see the name of the list. But when they click on the name of the list, they won't see the contacts that actually result for you on your login. So we're going to save that list. And this brings us to the last way to access the search. So if you're navigating around the system, you're on the calendar, the reports, maybe you're just clicking around, you're working through your day, and then you need to access that list, you can click on your recently viewed in the top right-hand corner, and then select Quicklists. And I'm going to scroll down to Rick and Becca's clients with over $1 million. And by clicking on that list, it's going to dynamically search the entire database based on criteria right here and now and show me which contacts meet that criteria. So if I had a client who yesterday didn't have $1 million, but today their portfolio tipped over $1 million, and I ran this search, I would have them showing in this results as well.
Thanks so much for joining us today for this particular session. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to give us a call at 800-206-5030, option 3 for support, or just shoot us an email over to support@redtailtechnology.com. Thanks a lot and have a great day.